Hello and welcome to this installment of How to Church, I Wish I Knew, a video series that is collectively put together with the efforts of the local Congregational Support Working Group and the Congregational Vitality Teams of the Penn Northeast Conference. I'm Matt Gorgas, and in today's video, we will be looking at How to Church, I Wish I Knew How We Could Be Stronger Together. Joining us for this video, you'll be hearing from Reverend Dr. Bonnie Bates, the conference minister for the Penn Northeast Conference. And Bonnie is going to tell us first about some of the conversations about a Keystone Conference that have been taking place between the 4 UCC conferences in Pennsylvania, and the vision for what that could become, and really the heart of partnership underneath that vision. And then she'll talk about how that same spirit of partnership might be something that could inspire our local churches in the ways that they're able to work together with other churches and other faith communities to then make their ministries stronger. So I hope you'll join me, and thank you for joining me. Let's look now at How to Church.
18 months ago, the conference ministers of the 4 Pennsylvania conferences of UCC began to have a conversation about what our future might be and how we might share resources programmatically, training resources, and our ability to serve our local congregations better. Out of those beginning conversations came a vision for the possibility of merging our 4 conferences and whether or not that would serve our churches better. We began then to have what we called the Keystone Study Group, inviting 4 to 5 people from each of our conferences to be in conversation to explore the options that might serve us best. One of those options was simply sharing staff. One of them was simply sharing resources and keeping everything exactly the way it was with 4 conferences. And as we examined our options, we believed, as a whole Keystone Study Group, that forming a single conference in the Keystone region, which includes some churches in Western Maryland and our one church in New Jersey, began to be the best option for us. And we began to explore what that might mean. As we approached that option, we identified a vision statement for Keystone, which is together we are stronger. And we really believe that together we each bring some resources and expertise that will help us serve the congregations better. We have been meeting monthly, as I mentioned, for the last 18 months. We're about to look at draft bylaws and constitution, a draft staff plan, some budgeting and finance plans, and the possibility of a motion that would go to General Synod in 2025. All of that to support what we identified as the functions of a conference. Things like pastoral care, search and call, oversight and authorization of ministers, our disaster response ministries, our community outreach, our identity as UCC churches. So as we've moved forward with the work that we've been doing, we have continued to hone our goals and our vision to assure that what we're doing really serves pastors and congregations. We had a conversation at our Penn Northeast spring meeting last year about the Keystone Project, and all 4 conferences were represented to answer questions. We've had some online and Zoom conversation town halls, and now we're about ready to meet together for the first time, all 4 Pennsylvania UCC conferences for our summer conference meeting. As we've been exploring the connections across the conferences in Pennsylvania, I think the other thing that we've been exploring is how churches can look at the same kinds of work that we're doing at a conference level with their partner or local churches around them. One of the challenges in this day and age is a decline in membership and participation in worship at local churches. We know that to be true nationally. We also know that there are many churches who could benefit from either sharing in some ministry or outreach, sharing in some worship time, or perhaps even sharing a pastor. One of the ways that happens is to have a conversation with us at the conference and say, we'd like to explore a conversation with our Presbyterian brothers and sisters, or our Moravian brothers and sisters, or our Lutheran brothers and sisters who are in the same community. All of us are seeking good pastoral leadership and good missional worship experiences that nurture our faith and our congregations. I think that what we have learned in Keystone through our vision of Together We Are Stronger translates really easily into congregations as well. I was thinking today about connections and the support that connections give us in a pretty chaotic world. Think about the connections of communities, and that church used to be the center of community. Well, what might happen if we created a web of support with the local churches around us in order to do the outreach, mission, and faith development that we all need? I think there are ways to do that. The United Church of Christ has always focused on unity, but that's mistranslated sometimes into uniformity. Churches don't have to be the same in order to be in conversation with each other, in order to worship together, in order to do mission and outreach together. And I think it's time for congregations to look beyond their four walls, more broadly in the community, and talk with the partners around them about what it might look like to serve their members and their communities if they did that together. What would be the benefit? Maybe one church has a really good music program and the other has a really good youth program. Well, what if we put those two congregations together so that they could have a music program for both churches and a youth program for both churches? I think that's something we haven't thought about as clearly as we can. And there are resources available from the national setting and from the conference to enable us to do that, to enable us to look at who is your neighbor and what is God calling your church to be in the time and place in which we're now living. I think our faith is resilient enough to move us into relationships with partner churches in order to better serve the people that are members of our churches and their families. I think it's a mistake to isolate ourselves. I really do think that for congregations as well as our conferences, we are stronger when we work together. Jesus himself began his ministry with a community of disciples and followers, and he didn't limit that to people in a particular location or a particular family. I think we need to expand our own thoughts about how churches can work together so that we can live out our faith, we can live out our mission, and we can be the people that God's calling us to be. So let's presume that your church has made the decision that it wants to start to work with another congregation. What do? Well, you might make a phone call or send an email to the conference office. We might come and talk with your consistory or council about what your hopes and dreams are in doing that. One of the things we would ask you to do is look at a mission insight report to talk about and learn about your neighbors. And then we would explore who are the nearest churches to you, and do they have a similar mission and vision of church? In other words, are they excited about outreach? Do they love worship? Are the activities that they already do linked with activities that you do? Once you've had some preliminary conversations with the conference, we would want to have a conversation with those 2 congregations or 3 congregations together. If they're not United Church of Christ congregations, we might want to invite the judicatory people from the other denominations so that they can be a part of the conversation. In any case, we're going to look at where are your similarities, where are the differences, which congregation has which kinds of strengths, and we will walk with you along that exploration process. We also have coaches who can help you in those conversations so that you as a congregation feel comfortable having the conversations that you're having with the other congregation. We don't want you to feel lost in the process. We believe that partnerships are really strong, and we have a number of federated churches in our conference who have already begun to work together from different denominations and from similar UCC denominations, where they have explored how they can amplify the work they're doing, how they can impact the community. So practical steps. Call or write the conference office. Look at your mission insight report. Explore the other congregations that are around you. Pastors could sit together and talk about what's going on in their churches. We can engage a coach, either from our denomination or from their denomination, to help you with the exploration process. I think it's really important that you take short, small steps so that you don't feel pressured and you don't feel rushed. There's no hurry to do this. We do this so that we can amplify the benefits of our faith communities and our outreach together. You can do this, and we're here to provide the support so that it can be a success.